native violets. I bought these a few weeks ago and they have been suffering in their pots because of summer. There's like 4 pots of these. Have a look. Oh, you guys. That's terrible. I'm totally doing this backwards. What I think I might do is just put them in the ground and then plan around them. I can move them later. These are supposed to be very resilient. Does well in pots and hanging baskets. Oh, needs moist, well-drained soil. Fine. I'm just gonna do this first and then I'm gonna explain what I'm doing. Wow, this is like butter compared to what I was trying to dig into last week. That looks terrible. Okay. I have decided that I'm gonna grow my front yard into a little woodland nook right here in the suburbs. So exciting, right? Because this whole garden style and this shade planting thing is so new to me and I'm learning so much and it's blowing my mind. But I've come to realize that the overgrown look that has inspired me is mostly thanks to the wrong kind of plants. Yes, weeds. From the trees to the shrubs to the ground covers to the vining plants. Turns out more than half of what's here is invasive. I was hoping this was going to be a little bit easier than starting the kitchen garden or breaking ground out in the backyard, but no. No. Just gonna rip it out. Oh, Chook. This is the wrong house. Your house is on the other side of the yard. And you want to come down here? Come on. On the other side of that fence is a dog. I don't think you want to go there. Yeah, come on. All right, now you're really lost. Come on this way. Come on. Chook. Oh, you poor thing. Do you even know where you are? Please don't crush my violets. Please don't crush. I just put those there this afternoon. Dude, come on. Come on. Hey, Bubby. I know. Oh, you're so lost. Come through this way. Come on. Come on. Out this way. Yeah. Come on, Chook. You gotta go home. Please go home. Go home. Go home. Come on. Go home. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Atta girl. See you later. Have a good evening. Bye. Chook belongs to the neighbors, not on the side of the fence that she was sitting on, but on the other side, which is why I was trying to get her home. Funnily enough, she hasn't discovered the raised veggie beds yet. I'm anticipating it'll happen at some point, and I'm gonna have to find a solution, like a little fence or something. I don't know. Pest protection is never good looking for garden design, is it? Anyway, I'm here to chat weeds. When I first saw all of this, I loved how much greenery was already here. But really, this lushness is just the effect of years of neglect. And really, I do want to keep things looking quite natural, but I'm going to try and swap out the invasive species. Some of the stuff that I won't be able to move are some of the trees that are invasive. So this one here is a camphor tree. It's highly invasive, and maybe it's a little bit different in a suburban garden situation, but if you're trying to rewild or naturalize an area, you really should be getting rid of those and replacing them with something more native. This is a bit difficult though. See how close to the house it is? And it's just so big. I just don't think we can remove it without it impacting the house. I did do a bit of a dive into your options for removing trees. So there is a possibility of cutting it and then treating the stump with a chemical so it dies back. But then you know what? We just lose like this entire canopy, and I don't want to. If this were a place that we owned and I was doing a complete overhaul of the property, it'd be a completely different story, but I'm just wondering, because it's a rental, if I just pick my battles. I'm just gonna work with it. I'm not gonna worry about it too much and just make sure that, you know, it doesn't multiply. This tree over here, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Like, look at the leaves on this. The canopy is just, it's so pretty to look at. It's a weed, yeah. Celtis sinensis, that's what it's called. I'm sad that this is invasive because it's beautiful, but it is like, it's just, it has been popping up everywhere. I'm not going to get rid of every single one. I mean, it's bordering the property with the neighbors on both sides of our yard. Like, it's kind of a little bit everywhere. And again, I'll just keep an eye on it so that I can pull things out as they grow. I think that's the best I can do. The other tree that we have that's invasive, someone was asking me about this in the comments, but it's this tree here. It has these pods. This one is called a Tacoma tree, Tecoma, otherwise known as yellow bells. It produces a beautiful yellow flower. I think we've got one flowering out in the backyard. And these seed pods, look at this. Seeing these pods, there's almost like this papery seed. It goes everywhere. It actually looks quite beautiful when it falls. It puts on quite a show, you know. It's so beautiful. That is also invasive and too big to remove. So I'm gonna have to keep a close eye on it and make sure it just doesn't multiply. Oh, here, right here. I think this is a new one that's growing. Yeah, it's got the same leaves. I want to dig this up properly. I don't want to cut it above the roots here, so I'm gonna wait till the morning to do that. We do have other trees here that are non-invasive. We've got 2 callistemon trees. At least I think they're callistemon trees. How did I ID that? I can't remember. Maybe that's what Google Lens said. Check this out. Look at this. Do we know what this is? It's called a Madeira vine. It's a vine that is highly, highly, highly invasive here, and it smothers trees. They multiply via these, and these are like everywhere in the garden. I'm having to hand pick them and put them in, like, I don't even really know how to dispose of them. At the moment, I'm just putting everything in a plastic bag and somehow trying to suffocate it. But this is wild. Like, and it climbs up the trees. You can kind of see it. This is it here as well. It just goes high up into the canopy. It just twists itself around all of the branches. And it's not just all up the trees. This stuff can be found on the ground as well. Have a look at this. Oh my God. It's a very pretty plant, but it gets everywhere. This is all Madeira vine here, getting tangled up in the Boston ferns. Like, these things are everywhere. They're everywhere. And that's not everything as well. We also have, I can't believe the list goes on. This one is tropical wild petunia. It's got a little red flower that kind of like comes out at the center, but this is a mild invasive weed. It's kind of gone out of control here. On the list of weeds, it's not considered as aggressive as something like Madeira vine. You can see that it's just getting in amongst those Boston ferns there. The Boston ferns are not invasive, so I'm gonna keep those, but I am gonna remove this, as much of it as I can. So this here is a planter that's kind of like, it was built as like this side attachment to the house. This is where the Celticinensis, whatever you call it. So one of these has been planted in here among a couple of other things. I don't know what this is. Google Lens gives me a couple of options for it, which I don't think are correct. Something is eating it. This, I think, is Jewels of Opa, Talinum paniculum, with a little purple flower. Baby's breath. Oh, it's edible. Nutritional value, high in vitamin C, high in calcium, high in antioxidants. Is it a weed though? Apart from the Boston fern, there is one other non-invasive plant that I found here, hiding right at the back. Is a camellia plant. Is it gonna bloom? It might. I don't know what this is though. Maybe another invasive tree. I've always thought camellias were a little bit vanilla. Like, I've never really thought that they were anything special, but maybe that's just because I haven't seen them in and amongst other plants. I see them in really formal gardens, but I don't know, maybe this one could have its naturalistic moment in a woodland. Anyway, I'm not getting rid of it. It's really big, so tall. Like, actually the camellia goes up above the balcony railing. See that? Oh, for the love of God, would you focus? I think it's about to bloom. Anyway, I'm gonna start this tomorrow morning because I don't think I should work on this when it's dark. I have no idea what's living in here, and to be honest, I'm a little bit scared. So I'm gonna have my boots, some long gloves, and a stick. Oh boy, oh my God, all of this vine. Are you seeing this? What is this? Wow, shouldn't have done that. The little rhizomes, is that what you call it? Yeah, they just went everywhere, so now they're probably all gonna propagate. Petunia is really easy to pull out by the roots, which is good. Ugh. Oh yeah. So satisfying. Whoa. These are the things that I need to be careful of. This is how the Madeira vine propagates, and I'm just finding this all over the floor of this yard. I'm just gonna have to be diligent about this. That's it. There's a tree growing out of the side of the house. Okay, this is a bit overwhelming. The vine is like everywhere. Look how big this one is. Can you see that? Look at this. Look at how big that is. What the heck is that? Okay, obviously I'm not going to get all of this Madeira vine. A ton of it is like just really high up in the canopies. All I can do is just get the ones that I can reach. Any tips, thoughts, theories, queries? Oh my god, this is truly the devil's work. What on earth? In case I haven't communicated to you just how aggressive this vine is, have a look at this. This is the vine here. It fully just wraps itself around trees. But this is the kind of that it does. And it's like it's choking the tree. Here's a little bit of the vine that I managed to cut down. This is nowhere near the extent of it. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop there because it's getting to the hotter part of the day. I'm gonna bag this stuff. That is what the suggestion is, to get rid of it. You can treat it chemically, but it'll be with non-selective stuff, probably. So physical removal and a crap load of patience is how we're gonna remove it. Over time, I mean, obviously this isn't going to be a one-day job. Someone on Reddit also says flamethrower or nuclear bomb might make a dent in them, but can't guarantee complete removal. That's a shame. It is brainstorming time. I settled on the woodland vibe because I knew that I didn't want to go total rainforest. I usually have tropical plants in the form of indoor plants. I enjoy them as indoor plants, and I really just wanted to try something else. So woodland garden design, and I am so glad that I stumbled across this. It mimics the natural layering and the plant life of a forest. It's a very naturalistic and informal garden style, which I do lean more towards than formal styles. There's shade, there's dappled light, there's winding paths, you have understory planting. So with the laid planting, you've got the canopy of tall trees. Then underneath that you have the understory, so that's your small trees, your large shrubs. Then there's the herbaceous layer, so that's like your perennials, your ferns, like your smaller flowering plants, I guess. Then you've got your ground cover as well, so that's like your mosses, your creeping plants, the mulch you lay down, and you want to create that very soft and natural floor. And then there's the vining layer as well, so your climbers that will go up the trunks of the trees that create the canopy. The aesthetic is very naturalistic, so there's a lot of like asymmetry, a lot of flowing lines. There's a lot of organic things like mulch and logs. Leaf detritus as well, which you might actually get rid of in a normal garden, is actually helping to create that really moist layer of soil. I would also be really interested in using things like boulders and rocks. The dappled light as well, like predominantly working with cactus, I've just always been about like, how much sun is this getting? But here's an opportunity where you can actually shape light. Shade-loving plants as well. This is going to be like a whole new ball game for me. What you would normally have, I guess, this is what the internet is telling me: ferns, hellebores, hostas, epidemiums, trilliums, shrubs like rhododendrons, camellias, which I have one of, and viburnums, which I have none of. Another key thing about woodland garden design that I'm learning is that you're implementing a lot of things that invite wildlife in, so things like bird baths. I've got one bird bath out here in my cactus meadow garden. I don't know what bed to call this yet. I'd love to get one into the front yard. I'm still trying to find the right one. I was thinking of just like a bowl that kind of sits on the ground, because we do have a slope, so having one that kind of like sits on an incline, maybe. I wish I could have like a pond or a stream. It's not going to be possible in this rental. Maybe I'll find a way to install a very small water feature, but I will definitely have a bird bath for sure. You've also got a lot of like meandering paths and really kind of like secluded spaces, maybe secret gardens or like garden rooms. What was it that I learned in design class? Straight paths encourage efficiency. So you would use a straight path if getting from A to B was the most important thing. Curved paths are used more for exploration. So having a curved path in a garden gives you that sense of like you're discovering something as you're walking along it. I'm actually thinking of putting a pathway in, and I want it to look really natural, so I'll probably end up using something like mulch. That's also the cheapest option. I think using something like stepping stones or wooden sleepers along the path would be really nice, but then it starts to get a bit more expensive. Though we also don't need to have the entire path as stepping stones. Because we're on a slope, maybe having only 2 or 3 stones where the incline gets steeper, that could be an option. So many ideas, I don't know what to do with them all. I think I'm just gonna start small. And I'm sure as I get to know more about this kind of garden style and shade planting, I will expand. We're back in the front yard. It is much, much later in the afternoon. I went to Bunnings to buy a couple of things and I had a look at the geranium Roxanne. It looks pretty tired. So I went up to a staff member and I said, look, is it gonna be really cheeky of me to ask for a discount on this? And you know, they always kind of look at you like I'm doing you a favor, but it's pretty crappy, isn't it? Like, anyway, I was all, I hope I can do something to save it, as if to convince him more that I was going to need a discount to buy it. And he looked at me and was like, you know it's going to be fine. And I was like, yeah. And then he said, just chuck some sea salt on it. Sea salt is the answer to everything, I swear to God. Anyway, I'm going to try and plant this right here in this spot, and we're going to see how it does. It looks nice in this spot. We'll just have to see how it goes. I also got a couple more of the native violets. These ones have some flowers on them. I'm basically just trying to get everything into the ground as soon as I bring it home from the nursery, because we've just got hugely high temps over the next few days, and I think they're really going to suffer in their plastic pots. So just get them into the ground, water thoroughly, sea salt thoroughly. Yep, that's it. I'm going to plant these. You don't need to see me do that. So I'm going to leave you here until tomorrow. So I think the chicken's been in this garden bed. Have a look at this. I think it scratched all of this up, and this here too, and a little bit up there. Maybe around here too. What do you think? I got home from work yesterday to find that the geraniums had kind of been like turned over. Not completely dug up, but it had kind of looked like it had been, you know, ruffled around a little bit. It's very frustrating because they're rescue geraniums as well, and it's like, come on dude. So I fixed it up. I mulched it with the dead leaves again. And this morning I came downstairs and caught chook red-handed. So I'm gonna have to find something that's gonna deter chook. Now I know I'm totally within my rights to go next door and say to them, hey, your chicken is messing up my garden. I would like to find a way for the chook to be as free range as the neighbors want it, because I don't mind its presence. The funny thing is it has not disturbed anything in the backyard. It hasn't gotten into the veggies. I don't know why. It goes into our backyard, but it doesn't touch anything that I've planted. Before I start making requests to get your chicken off my lawn, I would like to see if there's a way that my design and the chicken can kind of coexist. I know that I can put chicken barrier over my garden. That's a ridiculous idea. That is like, what is the point of even having a garden if I'm gonna like just cage it in chicken wire? I'm not gonna do that. Tim did a little bit of investigating for me and found that paprika is something that can deter chickens. Like if you ring the paprika around the garden bed. I don't know, I'm gonna have to read into it a little bit more. Also, we watched this hilarious video of this guy who used a motion sensor sprinkler to deter chickens, which could be a really good option as well. I mean, I like chook. I wouldn't mind as much if the plants were a little bit more established. Do you know what I mean? But they're just getting started, man. Don't kick up my young geraniums or my native violets. And I'm about to put some expensive plants in here, so we're gonna think of something. This morning, I am gonna put some new plants in the ground. I'll show you what I've got. I did do a little bit of shopping after work last night. I got a couple of the plants that had been drastically discounted, which is great. I think what I'm gonna do is just stick to this small area for now. This will kind of like be my experimental bed rather than trying to overhaul the entire front yard in one go. I mean, I have picked up some plants that can go in some of the other spots, but I'll just start really, really small is what I'm trying to say. This rock, we found this rock right at the other end of our yard, and Tim rolled it all the way over here. It's very, very heavy, and it makes me want to get bigger rocks to kind of like put everywhere. All right, plants. I got 2 of these anemones, and look at the backs of these flowers. They're like a really stunning purple. I swear that these just would not have normally been flowers that I would have picked. But here we are. It's got lots of new buds growing as well. These ones are ideal for shade. Mass plant in difficult sites such as beneath tree canopies or in low light areas. Oh, I'm so excited. These are not cheap to get in Australia, by the way. They're very expensive flowers. So, you know, I don't really want Chook to be digging these up. And I also got these button ferns. I wanted another fern, but I wanted something that had a very different texture from the Boston fern. So I think these will look really nice together. Like the Boston fern, these apparently like a little bit of moisture, but you know, if the Boston fern can thrive here, I think this can too. I mean, I don't think this is a particularly moist area. I do feel like this is dry shade. Anyway, we'll just see how these go. I only bought 2 of these, so if they don't make it, then it's gonna be okay. Just making sure I don't catch any friends by surprise. Because I know that these are going to reach 50 centimeters tall, I do kind of want to plant these a little bit further into the bed. You know what would actually be really good is if I got some kind of like stepping stones, maybe some flagstone that I could use as stepping stone to kind of like place in the bed, so that I could get easier access to some of the plants if I were to do more planting, say a little bit further up into the top of the bed there. I'm so sweaty already. That was just one plant. Oh, it looks so cute there. Look at this. It just looks so sweet. Why? Okay, second anemone. 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 I'm gonna plant this other one. Where is it? Where are you? Here. I'm gonna plant this other one probably like maybe here. What do we think about this little plant combo here? I think that looks pretty cute. How big does a button fern get? Looks like it'll get to about 30 centimeters high, 40 centimeters wide. So not too big at all. 30 high. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I've just cleared a little bit of space back there. I bought this camellia at half price. Yeah, like I said before, I'm not the biggest fan of camellias, but it was $25 and I got it 50% off. I have no idea what color it is. It's like just a generic camellia label. But you know, I thought maybe I could plant another one so that this one over here just isn't hanging out by itself. Paprika. Paprika is what I'm going to be trying to deter this chicken from pecking at my garden bed. Apparently they don't like the smell of spices. Basil is also a repellent, and I'm wondering if that's why it's staying away from the veggie beds. There's basil and there's curry plant in the veggie beds. There's catnip in the veggie beds as well. So there's a lot of strong smelling things. I've also seen a bunny rabbit, like a small domesticated bunny rabbit. It's someone's pet. And that hasn't gotten into the veggie patch either yet. Maybe planting smelly things is the key. The thing that I noticed is that Chook actually isn't interested in digging up plants or eating the plants. Chook just wants to scratch around at the leaves and find bugs and grubs that are underneath the mulch. This is crazy. I'll let you know how that goes. If that doesn't work, Tim's also bringing home some lemons that we can chop up because apparently they hate the smell of citrus. Give me tips. I am open to suggestions on this. Okay, the last plant that I'm going to plant in this video is this acacia copper tips. This one was $3 at work. It was reduced down from $30 down to $3. Plants are quick growing, hardy and frost tolerant, adapting to most soil types and prefer an open or partly shaded position. And it grows to a large shrub. 2 to 5 meters, I think will be fine. This spot right here will be part shaded. It gets a decent smattering of sun in the middle of the day, and then it's shaded from about mid-afternoon. So I think it should do fine. Cool, let's do it. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking, just in terms of a pathway. It does get a little bit wider the further up you go towards this nook here, and I'm thinking that this could be a really nice area to sit. I mean, I know that we've got the porch for that, but I feel like this area here is deserving of a chair or something. Anyway, it's late, it's dark, and this camera is about to run out of battery, so I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. Tomorrow's meant to be a really hot day, so maybe the day after. Oh, it's that little window of time in the morning where the temperature is really crisp and really cool, and then the heat will go up again. I am ready for autumn, everyone. I'm done with the heat. All right, chicken update. The paprika didn't work. We also tried rosemary. That didn't work either. We've yet to try the lemon. I suspect that herbs, spices, food, none of it's really going to work unless we've got a crap ton of it, and that could just get quite expensive. Other options, I'm slowly coming around to the idea of chicken wire because it might just be that I use it temporarily to establish new plants. Like I said, from what I can see, Chook doesn't seem to want to devour the plants or destroy the plants. She's just scratching up the leaf mulch. She's just looking for bugs underneath. She hasn't even touched the veggie beds. We have literally watched her walk around the veggie beds, peck at the ground, and then leave. She could easily get in there if she wanted to. We could also look into the motion sensor sprinkler idea, although the way that these beds are set up, we'd probably have to aim them at the street. It might be more trouble than it's worth. Are there any more options that I can try that I haven't already thought of before going to the neighbors? She's probably quite happy being the most free-range chicken in the hood, and I don't want to imagine her caged up. Like, I've already given her a personality. All right, let's move on to the plants. They're holding up pretty well despite how hot it's been. I thought they would be doing a lot worse in the heat. There was another discounted geranium roseanne at another Bunnings that I went to. I'm just going to leave it here in the meantime. I'm aware that these flowers will get bigger and spread over time, and they might need moving, but I'm sure that I'll work it out as I go along. I decided to test out some mulch for the pathway. I really wanted a very natural color. A lot of the pine or bark mulches that I was seeing in Bunnings or online were like black, red, or like this really deep, rich brown color. And I wanted something that was almost like a brown gray. This was the cheapest mulch that they had at Bunnings, and it was the only one close enough to the color that I wanted. You know what? Chook would be interested in scratching this up. I don't care. I don't really mind that she scratches up the pathway. None of this needs to be pristine. That's the thing about informal garden design. You can get away with a bit of the mess. I care if my plants are being dug up. I care if they're being eaten. Anyway, I digress. I just used a weeding stick to scrape away the weeds in this area. I think what I might do is cardboard off the rest of this path, especially where the weeds get a little bit more dense, then I'll lay the mulch down. I'm thinking that the dichondra will just go in on either side of the path, though I'm not too sure how to stop it from growing into the path. That's going to be a later problem. I could also do the stepping stone idea and have the dichondra grow around the stepping stones, but I think that would just be getting more expensive. And then I've just got to figure out what to do with this open space here. Don't mind the mess over there. I definitely want to be making the beds a little bit deeper and thickening that screening from the street. Oh, this is a big project. It's going to keep me busy. It's going to keep me on my toes. Ooh, that's nice light. Anyway, all right, take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.